Perfect. I think we're live now.
Yes.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Turning Talks into Reality, Decentralizing Telecoms and Streaming. I am Daphne Mendoza, Head of Marketing at Weaver Labs, and I'll be guiding today's conversation, where we will dive into the real-world collaboration between Weaver Labs and Streamr Network, two teams at the frontier of decentralized connectivity and data streaming. Joining me today, there are these brilliant minds behind the teams. Maria Lema, CEO of Weaver Labs, a telecom industry visionary. Maria is on a mission to revolutionize how we experience technology, starting with the network itself. We also have from the Weaver Labs team, Tom Bauer, which is a developer at Weaver Labs, a senior software developer working on building Cell Stack by Weaver Labs. And we have Matthew, CEO of Streamr, a senior technical co-founder and crypto-native engineer that over the past 6 years has been at the forefront of building Streamr Network's ecosystem, serving as its project lead and CEO. And we also have Mark, CCO at Streamr, an early stage tech startup leader with a focus on Web3 technologies, currently Streamr Network Chief Commercial Officer, and recently building Streamr TV. That, by the way, we will be talking about that in depth. So if you're happy, let's kick off this and let's dive straight into Streamr Network and their newly launched platform, Streamr TV. Matthew, let's start with you, if that's okay. For those who are new to Streamr, what is the vision behind the company and how does it change how data is shared and used?
Awesome. Streamr is a decentralized global pub sub network. So it's able to distribute real-time data in a decentralized manner without relying on any central servers or data centers to orchestrate and sort of manage the relaying of data. So we really bring peer-to-peer to a kind of internet level infrastructure protocol offering for anybody to use. It enables anybody to be able to stream and broadcast real-time data without relying on third parties to support them in some way with some sort of account or kind of platform handholding. We give everybody the tools to be able to use just the native protocols of the internet to be able to connect and stream data in real time. And so the sort of vision of the network is to bring more power to the people, maybe in a sense, to be able to give this freedom technology to everybody so that they can just kind of be who they want to be on the internet without having to go towards walled gardens and playing by certain rules of different operators. So we really just provide the infrastructure and enable applications and creators to do what they do best.
Fantastic, truly decentralizing.
Yes.
Mark, over to you. Tell us more about Streamr TV. Why now? What does it enable, and how do you see it expanding real-time data access for creators, users, and applications?
Yeah, so just to build on Matthew's introduction and a bit more background to Streamr Network, the project's been around for some years, 2017, 2018. And the core protocol and network has been some years in the building. You know, it's a complex technology. And over the last 5 or so years, you know, we very much had a focus on what we refer to as protocol adoption. And, you know, we've had some success with other Web3 builders using the technology, including Weaver. And we've had some success outside of Web3 as well. However, we have ambitions for Streamr Network, and we simply want more data through the network and protocol. We want more use of this fantastic decentralized peer-to-peer technology. And so I would say 3 to 6 months ago, we started talking more sincerely internally about, okay, how do we accelerate adoption? And we came to the conclusion that we need to start building at the application layer. And so the kind of thinking around Streamr TV was born. And one of the reasons that we kind of got to the conclusion of Streamr TV and live video streaming is because one of the inherent properties of Streamr Network is its ability to hyperscale. So what that means is because of the peer-to-peer architecture, the more users and contributors and viewers that come to a live data stream or a live video stream, the more robust and more efficient it becomes. So actually, this unique property means that it works at its best with very large audience sizes. And so we looked at the video streaming market in some detail over the last kind of 6 to 12 months. And we see that actually we're in a kind of fairly unique position there from a technology perspective. And so that gave us kind of the confidence and thinking to build this MVP for Streamr TV. And what we have launched in the last couple of weeks is, it's minimum by design. It is an MVP. It's not intentionally feature rich. And we're bringing it to market in a kind of what we refer to as a lean manner, meaning that we want to test for demand against different personas. And so we're kind of following that journey of following the data to see, who's going to be using it, where it adds the most value. And it's an exciting time for the project because it marks a bit of a change in direction. And we're very new to having launched the MVP, but initial sort of traction from the community is quite encouraging. So that's where we're at.
Yeah, that sounds actually very interesting. And I'm sure we will be exploring that new innovation together. And well, now I would like to move on to Project Arana. It's a project where we work together. And for that, I would like Maria to set up the stage and tell us what's the story behind Project Arana. What is it about, and what are we trying to achieve in that project?
So Project Arana is an innovation project backed by the UK government as part of their Future Networks program, trying to find ways to deliver connectivity in innovative ways, trying to move away from legacy telecom, monolithic, closed type of solutions. And in that project, Weaver Labs delivers cloud-based connectivity into a football stadium. And the idea is to show that connectivity needs to be part of something bigger. As Mark really well said, infrastructure is nothing without the application. You have great infrastructure, but if you don't have something that is tangible to the end user, that infrastructure is just seen as a capital cost rather than a revenue-making asset or a strategic asset that can accompany any business in their growth journey. So Project Arana is essentially tackling that with the perspective that cloud-based solutions can encompass networks and compute together and provide an integrated compute platform that can sit in the venue and integrate to pieces of the cloud that are outside as well. So looking at hybrid cloud environments where enterprises, and in this case, the football stadium, can think about delivering services and leveraging the infrastructure that exists within the stadium. So in this project, we worked with an amazing roster of partners, including Samsung, Capgemini, the Satellite Applications Catapult bringing satellite backhaul, the University of Bristol bringing state-of-the-art technology in the context of open networks, Madevo and Samsung bringing some really cool AI components that allowed the network to constantly learn from the application and adapt itself. So really state-of-the-art stuff when it comes to delivering services from a networking perspective. And there we saw the opportunity to collaborate with Streamr in delivering one specific fan application. So this network means absolutely nothing if people don't use it. And we need to provide a reason why stadiums should be investing in infrastructure and using that infrastructure in their journey to digitization and enhancing fan experience. And there is where both AI and the Streamr application presented really good opportunities for us. And just very simply touching on the AI stuff that we did, we delivered the fans AI insights. So all the information that was gathered from the match and all the historical information, the fans were getting up-to-date information on that. And then when it comes to the Streamr application, Tom can explain a lot more about that because he was working with the Streamr team from the engineering part on delivering multi-angle camera views to the phones for the fans that are in the stadium. So that means that from wherever you are sat on the stadium, you could select the cameras and have a much more closer view to the pitch. And that wouldn't have been possible without the Streamr network and without our technology, that cell stack that is sitting as the software platform that delivers the 5G private network and also all the compute resources for the multi-angle streaming application to exist.
Fantastic. I do want to touch on that technical side. So, Tom, can you tell us how did you make this work? What challenges came up? And what are your thoughts on where this tech can go next?
I guess the main way we made it work was through a lot of experimentation. We tried several techniques for getting videos to the phones, not just the videos, but the other services as well, like the match info, the AI insights. But for the video specifically, there's always going to be a trade-off between many different factors. So you're trading off video quality, frames per second, against latency. So in a stadium environment, latency was one of the key, I guess, factors which we were trying to optimize. So we had to sacrifice the quality somewhat to do that. Another thing that we had to, another challenge was essentially when you register to a video stream, there might be a 2-3 second delay while that stream registers and boots up. So the solution we came up with for that was to run all 4 streams from each of the 4 cameras in the background, and then the user on the phone effectively just hides the 3 streams while they watch the others. They don't see that, but that's what happens in the background.
Yeah.
But when we used like a traditional approach, sort of a centralized hosting system, we could target maybe 50 phones using this 5G network. But with the Streamr application, we can scale that infinitely effectively. For the centralized system, we were just using, I think it was 40 virtual CPUs on a Dell R650 server, and we were hitting the limit at about 50 phones, so about 200 streams. But with Streamr, the phones themselves act as the servers, kind of, so they're peer-to-peer between the phones, so it's more scalable.
It's true. Matthew, Mark, whoever wants to jump in. So from your side, what did this collaboration show you about your product and our product together? Any learnings, insights?
Yeah. I think it was like new territory for us because we've just been like really on the raw data streaming side, and lately we've been like working closer and closer towards that media pipeline plug and play sort of experience for our ecosystem to get involved with. And we were so just ideologically and kind of technically aligned with Weaver Labs that it just became really easy to work with each other and have the Streamr node embed inside the Arana app. And then you kind of unlock all these new qualities that each of us kind of want from each other in the way of like especially hyperscaling a very low latency but bandwidth intensive streaming application. So yeah, that was really like a learning for us is, wow, this works in a very stressful environment. Like you can't imagine anything more stressful than a live sports match with thousands of people all watching and demanding such low latency and this shared experience together. So yeah, that was the learning for us, that yeah, wow, this is a great partnership relationship. It works. Decentralization can really bring new qualities to the table, especially when the scaling demands are so high. So yeah, it was a really fun experience for us.
Absolutely. And I think you touched something very important, live sports, and yeah, how stressful that is. So I would like to explore a bit more of that vertical. So maybe, I don't know, Mark, what are your thoughts on Streamr's potential in the sports world? Could platforms like Streamr TV play a role in live daytime, I don't know, decentralized media, delivery, and so on?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I was explaining earlier with Streamr TV, we're starting to test against different use cases and different personas and who might want to use such technology. And one of the very first use cases that we're getting demand for already is about what we refer to as grassroots sports streaming. So I think what's very clever about Streamr TV is we thought long and hard about how to abstract away the kind of friction points of Web3 UX. And what I mean by that is connecting a Web3 wallet in order to use an application layer product. We've abstracted that away, so it's one click to live stream. And as a result of that, we've made it very easy for grassroots sports teams in order to live stream their matches and share that with their audience and communities. So, we think that's quite a big step forwards in terms of thinking around Web3 UX, and that's been very, very important to us. Just going back to some of the features that Tom and Matthew have just touched on at a grander scale, these kind of peer-to-peer decentralized technologies, we're starting to really understand the sort of marginal benefits of these technologies versus centralized cloud services. So, we've been speaking a lot in the what's called the OTT industry, the over-the-top live streaming industry. And even to this day in 2025, it's extremely difficult to live stream sports at scale. So at the other end of the spectrum, when you're live streaming sports events to audiences in the hundreds of thousands or millions, that is a soup of protocols. It's protocols on protocols, live streaming large amounts of data from point A to point B to point C to point D globally. And this is at the very other end of the spectrum, but again, decentralized peer-to-peer technologies can really help to do that in a much more efficient manner. And so, the more that we look at this space, the more excited we're getting about it. And I think just to reflect as well, we've all been working in Web3 for some time now, and there has been this inherent challenge with product market fit for Web3, almost as an industry, and specifically for us within DePIN. And I think what's really nice to see in the DePIN sector now is founders, entrepreneurs, startups, DePIN startups are now really starting to tease out the kind of technical benefits of their technology and finding a way to land that in certain verticals. Yeah. It's not an easy thing to do because, the benefits of decentralization at first glance are quite hard to articulate and express. And it takes a real level of commitment and focus in order to really understand where is your niche, where can you really add value against certain use cases. And I think it's encouraging because we're seeing that starting to happen now across the DePIN sector.
Yeah, absolutely. I think adoption in Web3 translating to Web2 is difficult overall. But talking about this, we cannot exclude connectivity behind it, right? So that's why, Maria, I would like you to tell us, why is connectivity such a pain point for live sports and fan experience? How do you see Weaver Labs solving this? You are muted, or it might be me, but I cannot hear you.
Yeah, sorry. So that I need to have the window open. It's boiling hot in London, and there was like a truck, so I had to mute myself. Thank you. So why is connectivity important? I think it's kind of a redundant question in general, right? Because like connectivity is what transports information from A to B. It's literally the pipes, and we can't do anything without it. Like literally. Like when networks go down, like the world collapses because everything requires access to the internet or a way to send data from A to B, right? It's just like the underlying infrastructure that supports absolutely everything and every business. So I think that why connectivity is important, everyone kind of like understands that by now, that it is crucial for anything. But when it comes to sports events or even like enhancing any business or any vertical. So what I also like to say is that providing connectivity is easy. It's not hard. That problem has been solved, you know, like I know, like I started my PhD, 20 years ago. And we already had I was already talking about 4th generation of mobile connectivity, right? It's a very well-known problem solution space. We have specific networks that serve specific devices, 100 or even more protocols that can transport specific data. So that problem is not difficult to solve. It's expensive sometimes, yes, or it can be cumbersome, but it's not difficult. What it really is difficult, it is to provide connectivity that is tailored to a service without jeopardizing the infrastructure that you are creating in order to scale to another service. So putting that into other words is, how can we provide customization without creating one network per use case? And that is what is difficult, or it is the next level of innovation in the telecom space, which, by the way, hyperscalers have actually solved that problem in the cloud environment by using software. So this is where Weaver Labs comes in and says, yeah, I mean, connectivity is easy, but then let's put something on top that creates a platform, and that platform allows for applications like streamers to exist, but many others at the same time, without impacting the quality of experience of the user while they're enjoying the live streaming. So a stadium is a place that it's a great place for this type of cloud-based software networks that require a lot of customization for different applications, because you have ticketing, you have streaming, you have low latency stuff, for instance, I came to know that now the turf is intelligent and has sensors that are transmitting data when they need water, or if the sun is too strong, or things like that. So all of that data, if you were to plan a network for each of them, will be different. You don't build a network in the same way that you build it for those turf sensors that you do for 40,000 people. And that is where we differentiate ourselves really well. We provide a platform that connectivity can be seen as tailored but it reuses the same underlying infrastructure.
That's very interesting, and I think that comes down to also decentralization, isn't it? Like, we need to be able to allow all that innovation happening, and that I believe that will just happen with decentralization. Well, I think I would like to ask all of you, starting probably Mark, then Tom, Matthew, and finishing with Maria. Where do you see this going? Where do you see not just your company going, but where do you see this DePIN leading to, especially talking about sports and live events? Where are we heading?
It's a great question. What I would like to see is the realization of the vision of Web3. So, you know, if we go back a few years, we all kind of got into this space because, well, many of us did, because we were believers in decentralization and saw the importance of that. And what we see in the internet today, in the World Wide Web, is a monopolistic position by several very large players. And that has served its purpose up to this point in time, but it is suboptimal in many ways. And we're all aware of the sort of negative impact of some of those platforms and technologies. I think what's really important now is, you know, with the fast onset of AI is that, you know, a lot of the AI technologies are owned and dominated by a few very large players. And I think that's a watch out. We should all be very concerned about that. And I think not enough people in tech are talking about that today. Web3, I think, has a real role to play, and DePIN, in helping democratize some of those technologies to better serve the internet, to better serve people. And I hope that Web3 technologies and DePIN continue on their journey in order to decentralize and take away power from these centralized, very powerful technology companies. That's my hope and the vision for Web3.
I like it. Very interesting. Tom?
I guess I kind of follow a similar line in that, like, the way things currently work, if you want to host a service, you're going to go to someone like Amazon, Microsoft Azure, or some of the other smaller ones. What this leads to is kind of a centralizing effect. And if anyone can figure out the billing structure of Amazon Web Services, they deserve to earn a lot of money. But anyway, what I think will need to happen is basically venue owners or infrastructure owners will need to start operating their own hardware. The way to make this happen is to kind of incentivize this. So there needs to be some sort of marketplace for that to happen. So say you're in a building, you might have a server in the building with some spare resources. How do you rent that in an open marketplace? I think those things are going to be very interesting in the next 10 years or so.
Absolutely. Matthew?
Yeah, I have maybe a different perspective. I'm not sure. Like, now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of dull to say, but I think it's quite profound in the effects that will kind of come from this. And the answer is more customization and personalization, which doesn't sound too exciting on its own. But when you consider that you can give everybody the raw live video stream, perhaps through the Irana app, we can start to envisage like an extensions, plugins, filters, whatever you want to call it, but augmentations and sort of playing with the raw video data in a way that suits you as the viewer. So imagine me, I want to see subtitles in my native language. I want to see like a certain scorecard in a certain way. I want to see my favorite player and how he compares with my least favorite player or something like this. I can really customize the experience for me. And I can do this because we have this sort of grassroots creator mindset from, the full infrastructure stack. And so we can build applications together that really match the interests of the viewer. And of course, AI is going to do like a lot of that groundwork for us. So AI is analyzing that raw data on our viewer device, perhaps inside the Arana app. Then we can really customize the experience. And you can imagine maybe I can't customize the experience, but a developer that knows what they're doing can offer me an extension that I could purchase that provides exactly the user interface to the visual content that I want to see. So there can be this ecosystem layer on top of the raw video content, and there's just so much that we can work with here that's like just not being touched at all. So that's what I'm really excited for, especially in the event experience. And I haven't even touched like the kind of reactions and the sort of chat and real-time features that all of this can enable as well. So there's just so much untouched that makes it so exciting.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds fascinating. Maria, what are you?
Yeah, very much like Matthew, I get excited about the possibility of what we can deliver. And that's why I always say that telecoms is actually exciting, unlike many people might think. It is because we can host all of these ecosystems and provide a platform for innovation. But when it comes to specifically like DePIN and decentralized infrastructure in general, both Streamr and Weaver Labs, we've been around before this term even existed, and I think we are great examples of silent players, or maybe not so silent because we're actually talking about it. But that heads it down, build your product, create value, work with tangible outcomes, and the outcomes talk for themselves. And I just think that's why the partnership worked really well. Sometimes there is too much noise around what we want to achieve, that the companies are not actually working together to deliver joint value and proving that ecosystem value can be delivered. So I think that where DePIN can work more and help us all advance is if we get to actually do integrations, if we actually get to work together and build those paths to sharing data, to enhancing that personalization, because there are wonderful companies that are building really cool stuff. The problem is that we are kind of like in silos, and understandable, we're all minding our own business and growing our businesses, but in general a lot of value can be created as an ecosystem and as a community. And we essentially are always kind of like praising the community of Web3. So why don't we just deliver that same concept, but on the technical outcomes, not so much on the marketing side, which is what I do see a lot. So yeah, I think that from my perspective, what I like is more tangible outcomes.
Fantastic. Love all your points, really. Well, I think that should be it for today, but not before. Mark, Matthew, I don't know if you want our audience to follow you anywhere, X, LinkedIn, your website. Just let us know so they can follow you as well. We will share all the details later anyway, but thank you all for listening, and big thanks obviously to our guests from Streamr and the team here at Weaver Labs. And if you're curious about what we're building, follow us, and let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, looking forward to the next iteration of our joint work in Arana.
We will.
Absolutely. Yeah, we love working with you guys, and thanks for having us. It's been a blast.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us. Great to speak with you. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.